when they want to try, like, even for me personally, my character, they would try to attack my character. They'll say he a rat or he this and that.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is ask him who I told on.
Paperwork.
I ain't never told on no in my life.
Yeah.
In the Prem situation, look at this case. It'll tell you who told on.
Right.
My name ain't in that case.
Innocent or guilty, criminal or citizen, that could get them any time for any crime. Say, look, if it say, sir, did you see such and such and such, do such and such and such? Oh, wait a minute, only time, the only time.
If you know anything about 50 Cent, then you already know he's the last person you want to go toe-to-toe with, and T.I. learned that lesson the hard way when 50 dragged him straight through the mud over those never-ending snitching whispers that have haunted his name for years. That snitch label has been like a dark cloud hanging over Tip, bringing nothing but side eyes from the streets, cold shoulders from peers, and even fans turning their backs before he could defend himself. And guess who kept that fire blazing? None other than 50 Cent himself. He was one of the loudest voices keeping the streets talking, poking fun, and reminding everyone of those rumors every chance he got. T.I. tried to keep his cool, pretending the shots didn't sting, but eventually he snapped back. Instead of letting it fade, Tip went big, challenging 50 to a 20-track Resurgence battle on 50's own birthday just to make the beef even messier. Talk about bold. Naturally, 50 wasn't gonna let that slide. He pulled out the infamous 2008 Crimestoppers commercial where T.I. told people to report crimes and the internet instantly went up in flames. Memes, jokes, clowning, everybody had something to say. And the wild part, these two weren't always enemies. Back in the day, they were cool, making music together, showing love, both thriving at the top of rap. But once that snitch narrative stuck, it never let go. And with 50 refusing to bury it, Tip can't seem to escape the shadow no matter how much success he racks up. Recently, whispers started spreading that T.I. was originally lined up to play Davis McLean in Power. But word on the block is that 50 iced him out because of their rocky history. T.I. tried shutting the gossip down, calling it fake news and claiming that he and 50 actually have mutual respect. But here's the kicker. 50 hasn't confirmed a single word of that. His silence only makes people talk louder and wonder if Tip really got pushed out the circle.
You and 50 got a beef or something, man? Because I seen the post today where they were saying that you were supposed to be in, I guess, one of the Power, what's the name? I guess 2 of the actors on the show said that you were actually supposed to be on the show and then they replaced you with Method Man and they weren't expecting it or something.
No, that's not true. 50 and I, we were executive producers on a different show outside of the Power universe. But nah, man, me and 50 cool. I'm the only one who's not offended by his brass approach, and he's not offended by mine. So, you know, we play rough, but ain't no issue. It's a mutual respect.
So the big question is, how did T.I. get stuck with this reputation that just won't die? Why is 50 still pressing the issue after all these years, keeping him at arm's length like they're sworn enemies? Their fallout didn't just come from social media clowning. It's rooted way deeper. One major reason, T.I.'s obsession with going head-to-head with 50 in a Versus showdown. He pushed that idea hard, almost like he needed that battle to prove something to the culture. And for 50, who thrives on control and never letting an opponent choose the battlefield, that was all the reason he needed to keep the jokes. Almost to the point of straight-up begging, T.I. even went as far as challenging 50 on his birthday. That move alone rubbed 50 the wrong way, but the bigger problem goes way deeper. It all circles back to an image T.I. just can't shake. That infamous Crimestoppers ad. Back in 2007, T.I. was in serious hot water, facing heavy federal weapons charges and staring down the barrel of a possible 20-year prison sentence. The stakes couldn't have been higher. And then, out of nowhere, he popped up in a public service announcement urging citizens to do the right thing and help law enforcement stop crime. For Tip, it might have been a way to clean up his image while dealing with a legal storm, but for the rap game, that move was unforgivable. Overnight, that PSA stamped him with the dreaded snitch label, and no matter what he did afterward, he couldn't wash it off. And of course, nobody pounced on that more than 50 Cent. From day one, 50 used that ad to question Tip's street credibility, clown him in public, and keep those whispers alive.
Hey, what's happening, y'all? Some people call me Tip, but this is about another kind of Tip that can help our mothers, our sisters, our brothers, and our fathers help get the perpetrators who commit crimes against them off the streets. All you gotta do is call Crimestoppers Atlanta. Tips can be anonymous, and there's even a reward. The number to Crime Stoppers Atlanta is 404-577-8477. That's 404-577-TIP. Channel 2, Community Cut.
What should have been a temporary scandal turned into a permanent stain on Tip's legacy, thanks in large part to 50's nonstop trolling. But 50 didn't stop at memes and online shots. He took it straight to the booth. On G Unit's track, You So Tough, 50 rapped, "Get knocked with 10 machine guns, only get 12 months. Hey, don't talk to me, you talk to him, you talking to them." That bar had the whole industry side-eyeing T.I., wondering how he managed to skate past charges that should have buried him. And just in case anyone missed the point, 50 doubled down, spitting, "How do you explain how homie breeze? They said keep your mouth shut or you eat the cheese." It was a direct hit at Tip's 2007 case, the same year he ghosted the BET Hip Hop Awards right before he was set to hit the stage, only for federal agents to swoop in and arrest him on serious weapons charges. Here's the kicker. The whole setup came from his own bodyguard, who was secretly a government informant. That bodyguard delivered 3 machine guns and 2 silencers to T.Y. after Tip allegedly dropped $12,000 cash for the deal, and to make it worse, Tip was already a convicted felon, which meant he legally couldn't even be near a firearm, let alone buying them in bulk. Yet despite pleading guilty to those serious charges, the sentence T.I. walked away with was shockingly light.
Show me one place in the federal guideline where you can have 10 machine and get 1 year of community service and 1 year incarceration.
And that's exactly why 50 and so many others never stopped questioning him. Instead of serving the kind of hard time everyone expected, Tip got a deal that looked way too sweet. Just a year of house arrest, 1,500 hours of community service, and a short, barely there prison stint. That's it. Meanwhile, 50 kept hammering the point on You So Tough, rapping that even with the best lawyers money could buy, those charges should have locked a man down for 9 to 10 years minimum. Yet somehow Tip slipped out with what looked like a slap on the wrist. That's when 50 started dropping heavy hints there had to be more to the story. To him, the only way a sentence that light made sense was if T.I. gave something up in return, maybe even did a little talking to secure that deal. Not long after You So Tough dropped, 50 was pressed in an interview about those lyrics. Of course, he played it slick, dodging direct shots by saying it was up to the public to decide who he was talking about. But let's be real, he didn't even need to say Tip's name. By then, the streets had already stamped T.I. with that snitch label, and it was spreading like wildfire. When Tip was asked about it around the same time G Unit released the track, he tried to stay calm and even gave 50 the benefit of the doubt. But deep down, Tip couldn't clap back too hard anyway. The feds were still breathing down his neck, watching his every move, and the last thing he needed was more smoke with another superstar. But beef like this, it never really stays buried, and sure enough, by 2020, the drama came crawling right back. That old Crimestoppers video resurfaced online, right in the middle of all the chaos around Tekashi 6ix9ine's snitch scandal, throwing T.I. straight back into the fire. See,
Life, you see a snitch, slap him when you see him, knock his nose off. So next time I'm out, instead of asking for a picture like a little hoe ass, come on, knock my mother nose out if you think I'm a snitch. Come on, quit smiling in my face trying to get in my section. Don't play with me. Who you think you're talking to? Play with your name. King never gave no information to get anybody in no but now time with no police. If I am working with the police, it'll be to get him to...
When 6ix9ine was knee-deep in his racketeering case, testifying against members of the 9 Trey Bloods, the streets were already buzzing heavy about snitching. So the timing couldn't have been worse for Tip, and 50, he couldn't resist. He jumped on Twitter clowning T.I., posting, "The first song I'm gonna play is You So Tough," while mocking Tip's Versus challenge. But he didn't stop there. 50 reposted the infamous Crimestoppers video side by side with an audio clip from the diss track, making sure everybody connected the dots. And of course, Tip couldn't just sit quiet. He stormed into the comments section, clapping back at 50 with denial after denial, insisting he never snitched, never helped law enforcement, and never cooperated to put anyone behind bars. But Tip didn't leave it at that. He flipped the script and hinted that maybe 50 himself had skeletons tucked away, writing cryptic shots that kept fans buzzing about what dirt Tip might actually know. The video clip is cute, in poor taste, but cute. However, I prefer facts. I have never given any information to any form of law enforcement to get nobody, no time, for no crime, ever. 50 Cent, can you say the same? That's exactly how T.I. fired back. Instead of backing down, he doubled the pressure, reposting 50's diss on his own Instagram and dropping a long, heated caption that had everybody talking. But Tip wasn't finished. He doubled down again, adding, "That's all I gotta say about that. So let's set this date. Pick your songs off that one hot album you got, and let's lay your little overrated, outdated, steroid-inflated catalog to rest. R.I.P. to 50 Cent's catalog. I've seen you clowning and winning battles with ninjas for years, but not the king, though. You picked the wrong one. Ring me." Clearly, 50 had struck a nerve because Tip just couldn't let it slide. He went all out, doing everything possible to clear his name from those lingering snitch rumors, and right after blasting 50 with that IG post, Tip wasn't done. He hopped on Instagram Live with comedian Kelly K-Dub Walker, ready to talk even more. Of course, the conversation circled right back to the accusations of him being a snitch, but you already know it didn't end there. Tip still wasn't finished addressing the situation. He brought up that infamous Crimestoppers commercial once again, this time during an interview on the Big Facts podcast. When the host asked how he felt about people labeling him a rat because of that PSA, Tip stood firm, repeating the same defense he'd been shouting for years. And when they pressed him about New York rappers, especially 50 Cent, constantly clowning him over the ad, Tip didn't flinch. He kept swinging back, determined to prove that he wasn't the one the streets should be calling a snitch. I had a slick response ready, but that's when the heat really cranked up. About a week later, 50 finally clapped back. He jumped on Instagram and, in a now deleted post, dragged Tip by reposting the interview clip with his own warning. 50 wrote, "This was a week ago. This ninja was telling me about a comedy show he's working on backstage. I don't like all this kind of sue. It wouldn't be a good idea to come around me again. Respectfully stay away from me." That was the spark that set everything ablaze.
You know what I'm saying? But they talking about, they try to use that I needed to order protection, but why it feels like I'm the out here then? If I needed protection, you needed protection. And your protection gone.
And the tension didn't slow down. Things got even messier after the tragic death of King Von when T.I. made comments that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Once again, 50 was one of the first to call him out. Just days after King Von and two others were killed in Atlanta on November 6, 2020, Tip tried to speak on the city's rising violence. He posted, "Atlanta is a beautiful, progressive city filled with Black excellence. We uplift each other and win together. Stop coming here to kill each other." In the caption, he doubled down, "Handle your beefs in your city. Thanks in advance, King." But that message didn't land the way he thought it would. A lot of people felt it was a slick shot at Von and his camp, and the backlash came fast and ugly. That's when 50 slid in again. He reshared an IG story from Von's sister Kayla, who was absolutely furious. She wrote, "And these are facts, but the energy he always putting in people business needs to be the same energy he needs to make it right with his daughter. No way is my brother. 50 Cent get on his ass." Of course, 50 made sure the whole internet saw it. He amplified Kayla's post and added his own sharp warning to Tip, "You gotta chill. You bugging for saying anything, they got casualties. This is real. I don't know what you was thinking, but rethink it now. They hurting, they love that boy. He was way out. I bet you don't even realize they ready to come for you over what you just said. What hood you from again? Come on now." It was a bold statement from 50, basically telling Tip he was playing with fire, and this time the whole culture was watching every move. It was quiet time, and that checked Tip hard. For a moment, it actually shut him down. But you know Tip, he couldn't stay quiet forever. Soon after, fresh rumors started swirling that he was this close to locking down a role in 50's power universe, only to lose it because he couldn't stop throwing shade at 50. The whole story exploded when Gianni Paolo, who plays Braden Weston on Power, told TMZ that Tip was originally lined up to play Davis McLean, the slick attorney role that eventually went to Method Man. Even Michael Rainey Jr., who plays Tariq, remembered showing up to set one day and, boom, Method Man was just there, no heads up, no warning, nothing. Naturally, the whispers started flying that behind-the-scenes beef between 50 and Tip might have opened the lane for Meth to slide right into that role. When Tip caught wind of the chatter, he jumped on Tony the Closer's podcast to shut it all down. He swore up and down there was no truth to the rumors about him being cast as Davis McLean, and he even claimed that he and 50 had mutual respect for each other. But here's the catch. While Tip was out here showing love, 50 stayed dead silent. No confirmation, no denial, nothing. And if you know 50, silence doesn't mean peace, it means reload mode. He never forgets a beef, he just waits for the perfect time to spin the block, so don't be shocked if the tension between him and Tip explodes all over again. With 50, it's never if, it's always when. As for the streets, the debate is split. One fan wrote, "You can be a non-cooperating snitch where you direct police to a situation they can look at closer and still land a conviction without the original witness testimony. I have never in my life seen a 1-year sentence, a Crimestoppers tip, community service, time served, no conviction for what was basically a small army's worth of guns. I like T.I., but damn, let me get some of those politicians you got under your thumb. If not, the newest snitch ninjas get 10 years plus for just one gun, and Tip had 30 plus. But not everyone agreed. Another fan clapped back saying 50 had no room to talk, dropping the cold line. A mouse calling a rat a rodent. So now it's on you. What's your take on this never-ending war between 50 and Tip? Was 50 right to put T.I. on blast, or is this just the pot calling the kettle black? Drop your thoughts down in the comments, and don't forget, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next jaw-dropping story. See you in the next one.